Today I'm going to tell you how Oklahoma survived to beat Army in overtime. And all that's coming up after the bump.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folks? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time, except for tonight, where we all nearly melted down because number 5, Oklahoma, nearly got beaten. Not gave the game away, nearly got beaten soundly by the Army Black Knights. Now, there's a lot to take away from this game, but the first thing you have to take away is the defense. Ain't a lot changed, man. Ain't a lot changed. Look, there's a lot of folks that began this season thinking that the defense was going to be better because of the influx of talent, myself being one of them. And a lot of folks thinking that, yo, Mike Stoops has changed to a 4-2-5. The defense is going to evolve. They have better players at each position. The defense is going to come out gangbusters, and it did. Against Florida Atlantic, look good, look real good. Against UCLA, the ones look good, look real good. Then against Iowa State, look shaky. Look real shaky because missed tackles all over the place. And okay, we let it go because Iowa State knows how to play some football. They have a good scheme. They max protected with 6 and 7 guys to defend Zeb Nolan as he was getting off passes to guys like Hakeem Butler, who's 6'6", 225, and was just mossing guys like Parnell Motley and Trey Norwood. But Army, ain't nobody expected Army to be a game except this guy. I was saying it all season long, all off season, that Army is the scariest game on the schedule, and folks laughed at me. In the comments below, people were like, yo man, chill out. I know you got respect for service academies. I know that your parents are vets, but chill out. You just a little over the top about the Army Black Knights. Oh, for real? For real? Because it was 21-21 at the end of regulation. Because Army did exactly what we thought they would do, which was run like 5, 6, 7 plays and run them all really, really well, particularly on the offensive side of the football. Kelvin Hopkins, Kel Walker had themselves a day. Matter of fact, through the first half, you could make an argument that Army looked better than Oklahoma, and Oklahoma was ahead at half. So yeah, Oklahoma's up 21-14 at halftime, but good grief, the run defense. 183 yards rushing. That's what OU gave up in the first half football. Now I'm going to put that in perspective. Army was held by Duke University, Blue Devils, the Fighting Krzyzewskis to 168 yards total for the entire game. And we watched Kelvin Hopkins and Kel Walker go to work on Mike Stoops' defense. I mean, Ryan Jones is out there, Kenneth Murray Jr. is out there, Curtis Bolton's out there, Mark Jackson's out there. And how do you pick up a defensive holding penalty on a run play? Even as rare as defensive holding penalties are, Dylan Famatu managed to pick one up on a run play. Now, positives, right? Kyler Murray was doing his Superman thing. First with the 2 touchdown passes, he was 8 of 11 for 123 yards. And then he did his magician thing again with a 33-yard touchdown run where he went nearly untouched to the house. CeeDee Lamb, yeah, okay, he had the TD, but he had a drop pass. But the guy who said that Kyler Murray cannot outthrow him was outthrown by Kyler Murray. Now, I think Hollywood Brown should have brought in that pass. I think that he tried to big time it and go one-handed on these Army Black Knights, and that just ain't going to work all the time. Just put 2 hands on the football, bring it down, take it to the house. And I think that could have been his 4th straight game with a 50-yard plus touchdown, but, you know, in the first half, it's the first half. The other thing that was really worrisome is not just how easily Army moved the ball on Oklahoma, running the football, but how much time of possession went by. I was making the joke on Twitter that all of the old folks were going to be able to get to bed by 8:30 p.m. because you know how they feel about these night games. And because the game was so fast, I had to look at time of possession. And Army held the ball for 22 minutes of a 30-minute first half. That's ridiculous. Look, I was asking out loud, does anybody know how long this Army drive has gone on for? Because I don't have a sundial. That's how long they were able to hold the football. Now, Kenneth Murray Jr. was in on every play. He had 14 tackles in the first half. Perspective, Jackie Shipp set the single-game tackling record with 23 in 1981, and in that season, he had 189 total tackles. But the last guy that we've seen get sort of close to the numbers that Kenneth Murray Jr. put up for the entire game was Dominique Alexander in the Texas game where he had 19 tackles. But outside of whatever Kyler Murray was able to do, there just weren't the chunk plays that we were used to seeing in the first half of football from Oklahoma, hence the 21-14 score at halftime. And then there was that one savage hit that he took as a sack from the one guy I said that Army has that can play some absolute defense, James Docketall. Dude came untouched, wrapped Kyler up, put him on the ground. Like, I'm sure the Oakland A's were just cringing at the sight of it. But then the second half began. And then Kyler Murray promptly throws a pick. Now, you can make an argument that Hollywood Brown gave up on the route, or you can make an argument that Kyler Murray did the thing that Hollywood Brown said he couldn't do, which was overthrow him. No matter how you feel about it, Kyler threw his second pick of the season to Army. And as many good things happened throughout this game, with Kenneth Murray Jr. breaking the single game record for tackles in a game. The record was 23, held by Jackie Shipp. He set that record in 1981. It had stood for 37 years, and it took Army running their flexbone at home in Norman at Owen Field to get 28 tackles out of Kenneth Murray Jr. And then Curtis Bolton tied the record with 23 of his own. Those two guys had 51 tackles, and that's like this 36 storyline. Like, folks were going, at what cost? At what cost is Kenneth Murray Jr. having 28 tackles, Curtis Bolton having 23 tackles? Kenneth Mann perhaps had the play of the entire game when Dylan Fa'amata tipped the ball into the air, and then he came back down with it to give Oklahoma a chance to go win this football game. And then I asked twice on Twitter, Austin Seibert, do you clang when you walk? And the answer is, nah, not really. He missed his field goal that would have given Oklahoma the win, sent the game into overtime. And then Austin Kendall's the guy sent out there for captions because Lincoln Riley is reading his entire team the riot act about what it takes to win this football game. And then you find out that Army won the toss and they deferred, which means they were going to get the ball and have an opportunity to win the game outright in overtime. And then it looked like the former walk-on Miles Teagues, who said, I'm just going to do it myself, looked like he took it to the house. He stepped on the sideline, ended up being Kyler Murray to CeeDee Lamb for 6, where a lot of folks were yelling, go for 2, because you knew that Army was going to. Army came down here and did exactly what I thought they would do. They played disciplined football. It was a bunch of service academy cadets, a bunch of guys who prepare to go to war, a bunch of guys who know how to play their game of football, to be disciplined in how they do it, to play the game with pride and to strut through it. And you just had to know, they knew that this is their Super Bowl, that this is the one where they get to leave it all out on the field. And in overtime, Jeff Monken ripped a page out of Lincoln Riley's playbook and dialed up a pretty good halfback pass that should have worked, but it didn't. And then Parnell Motley did in this game what he did in the Iowa State game, where he came up with an interception to seal the victory. And Oklahoma is still undefeated. The score at the end of the game is 28-21. For those of you that don't pay attention to betting lines, the spread was 30 points. That means that Oklahoma was a 30-point favorite by the time kickoff happened at 6 p.m. Saturday night. And Army gave them everything they wanted, and there's a loud cry for folks saying what I was saying last year about Mike Stoops. But since a lot of folks want to just come down on me in particular about what I said last year, I'll leave it to you. I'll just say Mike Stoops got an extension. Mike Stoops got a raise. Mike Stoops brought in a top 10 class, and by all accounts, this 2019 class has an opportunity to finish in the top 5. But that's your defensive coordinator. And I was saying it last year, but I'm not going to say it this year because apparently it still rings true for some and it doesn't for others. I'll just point to, did you see that Army rushed for over 300 yards and threw the ball handful of times? Did you see that Army quarterback Kelvin Hopkins ran the ball 25 times for 102 yards? Did you see that Army slot back Kel Walker averaged 6.7 yards per carry? Did you see Army run virtually the same play up the middle? Nice little belly play, nice little fullback dive. Get the 3-4 yards they needed every time they needed it. Did you see the offensive line whip Neville Gallimore at the point of attack? And not just him, not just a single Neville out, but the entire defensive line, with the exception of perhaps Kenneth Mann, was just getting their lunch eaten. And we saw guys getting their grits cooked on the regular in missed tackles. Guys like Khalil Houghton, guys like Buki Radley-Hiles, guys like Parnell Motley. Parnell Motley got pump faked on an option pitch. Now, I get that Army is not an offense you're going to see all the time. You're going to see them one more time next year. And you can say that the flex bone is the problem. Or you can say that Baylor ran the football on Oklahoma last year, and Iowa State ran the football on Oklahoma last year, and Georgia ran the football on Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl. Or you can say flexbone, Army, Service Academy, wishbone. Don't see it a lot. What I see is a football team getting pushed around on the defensive side of the ball and an offense having to bail them out on the regular. And should the offense fumble and should the offense stall, like Kyler Murray throwing an interception, there is very little faith left that the defense can pick up the slack and do for the offense what the offense has been doing ever since Lincoln Riley arrived at Oklahoma. But positives, Oklahoma won the game 28-21. The Sooners are 4-0, and at least in a win-loss column, perfect. But everybody who watched Oklahoma play football and bought the pay-per-view like I did, or heard Toby Rowland call the game on the radio like many did, or watched the meltdown on Twitter like everybody did, knows that Oklahoma is far from perfect. So the glass is either half full with a win despite some mistakes, or half empty as you look forward into the Big 12 schedule and say, what team, after watching this game, will not run the ball 40 times on Oklahoma at their own peril? All right, that's it for me. Deuces.